Okay, this is called the 911 conversion. In other words, you have had in the previous version Microsoft Word 2003 or XP or 2000, and you open up Word 2007, you double click on it and you start typing and you're like, oh my gosh, what the heck is this font and how come there's so much spacing in between my lines when I hit return? Well, the font is Calibri, that sounds fancy, and the size is 11, and the spacing in between, and I just hit enter once, looks like double spacing. Not only is the paragraph off, and I don't like it, also the document doesn't go all the way to the edge. And if it doesn't go to the edge, then my font, even though it's size 11, is going to look a lot smaller, appear smaller like size 10. And I don't know about you, but I'd like to read my font where it's bigger and bolder and zoomed in. So we want to change three things. I'm going to show you how to do it. So if in your previous versions of Word, you didn't have this fancy Calibri, and you had Times New Roman or Arial as your default font, we can do that. However, I want to give you a warning. When you start changing defaults like the fonts here, you won't be able to use what's on the Page Layout tab, the themes. Because the default is what Microsoft has set up. When you click on themes and you go down to, I don't know, Oreo, it changes the text or the theme of the document so it has that, well, you click on the home page, a different font here. You see what I'm saying? So once you change the font, you can't use the hover over themes effect to change your document, your background, your page color, the font. And that can be okay. Now I know in previous versions, like in Word 2003, you were able to do that. Well, forget it. In 2007, you don't have that. If you do any custom changes with your font, themes won't work for you. So that's up to you if you want to do that. And we'll cover themes a little bit later on in another training video. So first of all, let's change the font. I don't want Trebuchet. I don't want Calibri. So you click on the expandable button for the font group, and there it is. You see the default was Body, which is actually Calibri. Now we're going to change Microsoft Word, and I'm going to type in Times, and there it is, Times New Roman, select it, and we want it to be size 12, and there's the magic button default. When you click on it, it's going to say, look, this is going to update your current document and any new template every time you open up Microsoft Word. I'm going to say, yes, make that change. So now you can see when I select the text or click on it, up at the top, the font is Times New Roman. Fantastic. I'm a third of the way there. Next thing is that when I hit enter, I don't like to have this big huge gap between my sentences. It almost looks like double spacing. I'd rather hit enter twice. So let's change the paragraph formatting. I'm going to click on the expandable button for the paragraph group here, and you can see the default. After each time I hit enter, it's going to be a paragraph and it's going to give 10-point spacing, and then line spacing is multiple, like 1.15, not single spacing. Well, let's fix that. Let's click on the down arrow and say I don't want any spacing after I hit enter or a paragraph, and I want single spacing. If I want to add double spacing, I'll hit enter twice, right? Okay, here's the magic button, the default for your indents and line spacing or your paragraphs. Click on it. It's going to say every time you open up a new document, do you want it to affect it? Yes. Boom. Automatically it collapses the document, and you can see when I hit enter, there's my double space, or what looks like double spacing between the first line and the second line. Backspace key and collapse it. Finally, I want to zoom in on this page. In other words, I want the page, the document, to stretch out to the borders or the edges here. So if I go to the View tab, it's at 100%, but when I click on the Page Width button, it stretches it out. The font looks nicer. It's not so tiny and grainy. We're actually zoomed in to the page width and not just the default 100%. See, I like that. So I'll go to the page width. Now what I need to do is I need to set the default for this as well. Well, here's a shortcut, and actually it's tied to the zoom group, the page width, is this little light blue ruler. When you double click on the light blue part of it, it actually opens up the page setup where we can default it and say yes, affect all new changes here. Everything's changed. Close out of the document. We don't want to save it because it's permanently saved when we made the default changes. And I'll prove it to you because when we double click and open up Microsoft Word again, and we start typing anything and hit enter, look at that, fabulous. The document stretches as close to the margins as it can here because that's the page width. The font, when I click on it, is Times New Roman, size 12, and also when I hit enter, it looks like it's single spacing. Okay, let's set some more Word defaults here. First of all, let's talk about the ribbon bar, this whole ribbon right here with all these different tabs. That's not customizable. There's nothing you can do to it. You can just use the defaults here, and if you have Adobe's Acrobat, it'll add its tab there so you can create PDFs from your Word document, of course. And then there's one or two other tabs we can add later, but we'll discuss that later. The cool thing that you can do here is that you can have this expanded as the ribbon, or double click, and it collapses. And just on any tab. Double click to expand, double click to collapse. Let me expand it one more time. The other fun little features that you can do is if you click on one of these tabs here and you got a little roller scroller on your mouse, you can use that roller button. Let me try it again here. There we go. I can roll through the tabs. And I guess that just sometimes it works because I have an optical mouse, so it kind of freaks out on me. But see, I can roll back and forth. The other thing is if you hit the Alt key on the keyboard, it brings up all these little letters here or numbers, and then you can just go ahead and hit the letter N. You can see it right here. It'll take me right to the Insert tab. And then the Insert tab, it's got more letters for more functions. Like if I want to insert a picture, I can hit the letter P, and it opens it up and says, okay, where's that picture? Go ahead and find it. So if you don't like the mouse and you want to use the shortcut keys, just remember your Alt. Of course, I'm not afraid to say it. I'm a mouse man. Next, we want to talk about the Quick Access Toolbar and how to customize that. I've discussed it a little bit in the earlier training video, but to bring it full speed, if you want to add like the print button or the print preview or anything else, right click on the Quick Access Toolbar and go to Customize. Now it has the popular commands, but that's not going to be everything, obviously. So we can change that to all commands. And boy, that's quite a bit too. And you can scroll through here and, well, if you're like me, I like to add the Save As button up at the top. And so you'd scroll down and it's alphabetized all the way to the S's and, you know, find it and double click, like Format Painter, double click. It adds it over there. And I can click OK. Adds it up at the top. It's also here on the Home tab, but what if I'm on the Insert tab or the Page Layout? I mean, to come up here and to click on it, that takes 2 clicks, where if it's up here, it just takes 1. By the same token, if you want to remove anything from it, just when in doubt, right click and say Remove. Of course, in Word, there's more than one way to do something, so if you want to customize your Quick Access Toolbar without right-clicking, which I really recommend, you can click on the Office logo button here, go down to and click on the Word Options button, come down here and under the categories, click Customize, and there you go. You can go ahead and, you know, double-click to add it or double-click to remove it. Takes quite a few more clicks, so that's why I prefer right-clicking up here. Oh, and one other little fun fancy thing that you can do is you can come down to one of these groups here, like the font group, and right-click it and add it to the Quick Access Toolbar. Now it has the button here that looks like the font color button, but don't be fooled. When you click on it, it just brings up that little group again. So, by the same token, I mean, if I'm on the Page Layout tab, instead of going to the Home tab and going to the group here, I can go to Page Layout, just click on it and be right there. Pretty nice. Go ahead and remove that. Let's do a little bit more customization, like your default save options. Click on the Office logo button, go down to Word Options, click on the Save category, and we're talking about right here. Do you want to save all your documents in the 2007 format .docx, or do you have a lot of clients that always use 2003 and they're not updated yet? Well, you can change it there, of course. Also, what's your default file location for your documents? Is it just the generic document folder when you click Browse that every time you click Save it dumps you here? Of course, you can change that and say it's always going to be to my desktop. And then click OK. And there it is, it's updated. And then finally, you want to take notice that the auto recover information saves every 10 minutes for you, and also where it's going to save it. If there's a system failure, it's going to default into this folder here. You can change that and have it to your desktop. You can say information every like 2 minutes or 1 minute or so. And then of course when you're done, be sure to click OK. You have your window frame down at the bottom. You can right click to customize the window frame, whether you want to view your zoom, and you can see it over here, the zoom here, or zoom slider. So now my zoom slider's gone. I can bring it back here. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel, get notified of the latest videos, and for only $2 a month, you can have access to all my Microsoft Office training videos.